In front of me here, an RTX wireless phone extender. It's basically made up of a base and an extension unit. Okay, so I'm just going to give a quick overview of what comes physically within the box here. We have a phone cord here. It's basically terminated with RJ11, standard phone connectors. We have a user manual. We have these adapters here, which are basically UK to RJ11 adapters. Normally we wouldn't need these in Ireland. And then we have the actual key thing here, which is the base unit here. We see we've marked it here just as a master unit, and then the extension unit, which is often called the slave unit. Okay, so to give a theory of how this should work, it's called wireless because you don't actually, using this, and if you're trying to put a phone point in a new location, you don't need to run a new phone line. It uses electrical cabling that's in the walls already. So basically it takes a telephone signal, sends it down the electrical mains and pops it back out the far end through the extension unit. Okay? So with this, they have a range of about 50 meters. And some of the key reasons you'd use this as far as that if you just want to put in a straightforward phone point at a new location, you could use it for that. If you want to put in a fax machine, you could use it for that reason. And the most common reason that we sell it for is in Sky multi-room installs. There's a requirement that there needs to be a phone line connected to every box to prove that when they do phone backs, that all the phone backs of the Sky boxes come from the same telephone number. Now often we'll say for boxes that are in living rooms, there's a telephone point very nearby, but we'll say if you had a multi-room setup and a box in a bedroom, there may be no telephone there. It can be quite awkward and difficult to run a telephone cable there, so you'd use a unit like this to do it. So what I'm going to do now is just give an overview of exactly how we'll go and install this. So if we took a scenario where we had, we'll say, a phone point in our hallway, we'd simply take this cable here, and we'd simply connect in here. So we connect that lead in, and if we look here at the base unit, there's two inputs here. We can use either port, they're completely interchangeable. I just push it in here, and what's happened now is this unit will be connected now to the phone line. So what we can do is we have an output port on it here. So if we had a telephone, we could simply connect the telephone back in here and it'll be live. While to actually send the signal down through the electrical cables, all we do now is we come along and we plug in this unit. So the first thing we'll notice when we plug it in, instantly this light will turn green. So with the base unit, the light always turns green, okay? It's not looking for anything else. It's base, and that's where the green light comes on. Now, inside the box we have the slave unit, the extension unit, and it comes pre-paired with this. So this base unit is already looking for the exact frequency of this, the master unit. So it's a matter of plug and play. So if we had a situation where we plug this unit in about maybe 30-40 meters away, when we plug it in, initially it'll flash green red, and then it'll go solid green when it actually recognizes that it's found the master unit. So just one point I'm going to make before I plug this in. There's a switch here, and you'll notice on the switch there's two settings. There's S, which is for voice, and C, which is for data. Now these units will come by default set to S, but if you're using it in conjunction with Sky, you need it set to C, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pick up this unit here. I'm just going to disconnect this phone line just to prevent confusion here, okay, at this point. So just to make the filling as clear as possible. So what we'll do here is I'm just going to come in here, and initially it's green, red, green, and now it's a solid green. It's after recognizing the base unit. So what the solid green light is telling me is I know where the master unit is. I'm getting a signal from it. I can output a telephone signal from here, as long as there's a telephone signal going into the master, of course, okay? So if there was a situation where you came along and the master unit was too far away or not plugged in, quite quickly the slave unit would realize there's a problem, and it's green-red now, it's flashing, it's looking for the master. It's telling us that it knows it's paired with a particular master, but it just can't find it. And if we plug this back in here, it's the same procedure again. Quite quickly it'll recognize it and it goes to solid green. So at this new location here, what would we use it for? Well, in the situation here where we want to actually use it with the Skybox, if I took this Skybox that we have here, the first thing I do is I'd simply take a cable here, connect it into the Skybox here, and run it back and connect it into this point here. And that means now that the phone output from this box will connect directly to my Skybox. And it simply means then that when we go to do the phone backs, this will definitely work, okay? So as I said, the whole thing is plug and play. You can see they're prepared, all the rest of it. So, you know, to set this up, if you bought this unit and wanted to connect it onto the Skybox thing, it's quite quick. Now, a great selling point of the RTX and what makes them so popular is that you can pair up to 4 units off a single master. So if you have this set here, you can go and say buy three additional slave units by themselves, pair them off. So later videos in this series will cover 2 topics. The first topic they'll cover is how to pair an additional slave unit onto this master, a single extension unit. And then the other thing is that if you have a slave unit that's paired to a different master base, how to unpair it, unmarry it, and then marry it back onto the master one that we want to do here. So that's it anyway, an overview of the RTX wireless phone extenders, base and extension units.